probably won't be looking at you all the time.
On this video, I would like to begin a short Akkadian grammar, holding it, having lessons of no more than 10 or 15 minutes in length. And I've been thinking about how to present this in a short way that would help people who would like to read Akkadian text. And it'll be inductive, I'm using Hammurabi's Epilogue as a basis of teaching, where we want to look at vocabulary and then grammatical analysis, and then a brief sort of like running commentary. Let me give a little bit of background, an introduction. In 1966, the German Assyriologist Raquel Borger wrote a landmark work entitled Babylonische Assyrische Lehrstück, which is still in use today. Some of the transliteration is based upon his work as I do this, whereas the normalization of the text, in which the transliteration is modified, make it more consistent in order to read Akkadian and study grammar as we go through it. It is my desire to present here a grammar and make it simple and short in segments so that scholars may have a better understanding of the construction and grammar of the Akkadian language. The question has been asked, why study the Akkadian language? The quickest answer is that we study the language, customs, and history of Near and Middle Eastern civilizations to give us a better understanding of the world in which ancient Hebrew culture arose. A longer answer involves many things. We can witness the rudiments of the Hebrew language as it emerges. We can find shared events echoed in other cultural histories, which give credence and support to the history of the Old Testament. We can find parallels in the ancient world that are still a part of life today. Ego, pride, power struggles, politics, religious syncretism, and even issues of parenting can be found in the study of Akkadian. The study of Akkadian and other ancient languages is critical if we are to know the intellect of the ancients, to know their thoughts and feelings, their struggles, their fears, and their wisdom. A dead language is not only dead, it records a culture and a way of thinking, and gives us a glimpse into ancient history. For us to most fully understand the Hebrew Bible, the context of the world of the Old Testament, and the socio-economic and political environment of the nations of the Fertile Crescent, to understand that, the study of Akkadian becomes a helpful and, I believe, an indispensable tool. So, as I begin this study, an interlinear, literal word-by-word translation of the Epilogue of Hammurabi's Code has already been created and is currently available on Google Books, entitled A Translation of the Epilogue of Hammurabi's Code, an interlinear, literal, word-by-word translation of the Epilogue of the Code. And it's by myself, Gary Stats. This interlinear follows this, what I'm going to use, short grammatical studies as we go through it. It is my hope that maybe a few people might have an interest in learning Akkadian, and to learn the grammar is essential in reading the Akkadian language, reading any language, I believe, to understand the grammar. And so this is what we would like to try to do. I don't know whether there'll be a lot of interest, but I want to take the larger work that I put out and narrow it down to 10 to 15 minutes of short lessons, and hopefully encouraging more people in the study of the Akkadian language. It will help provide, let's say, comparison with Hebrew, and think about it. The Akkadian of ancient Hammurabi's code predates the law of Moses, or Moses, at least by 300 years. And so I think it's important to meditate upon it, to think about it, and to give time to learning it and studying it. Let me just say one other thing here as introduction. When we think about Akkadian, it is an East Semitic language. And I'm quoting here from a Manual of Akkadian by David Marcus, a work that I appreciate a lot, very much, a wonderful inductive work, as well as Borger. He writes in his short, wonderful inductive work that he has written, on page, in the introduction, he writes these words: according to the traditional geographic division of the Semitic languages, Akkadian is classified as East Semitic, whereas the languages of Ugaritic, Hebrew, and Phoenician are classified as West Semitic. One major distinction between the two groups is the verbal system, in that Akkadian has two prefix tenses, like iprus and iparas, iprus being past, iparas present or future, whereas West Semitic languages have only one, like Hebrew yishmor, he will keep, or yiktol in Ugaritic, etc. Let me just say one other thing. The dialects of Akkadian, over the course of its long history, over 2,500 years, many dialects can be seen, distinguished. Some of the chief dialects are, number one, Old Akkadian, 2400 to 2000 BC, Old Babylonian, 1950 to 1595 BC, Old Assyrian, 950 or 1950, I should say, to 1750 BC, Middle Babylonian, 1595 to 1000 BC, Middle Assyrian, 1500 to 1000 BC, and Neo-Babylonian, 1000 to 625 BC, and finally Neo-Assyrian, 1000 to 600 BC. This is on the introduction of the work by David Marcus. And so the title of it is A Manual of Akkadian. And I appreciate that summary. I'm quoting from him in giving that summary under the introduction. I'm going to stop here. I'm going to try to hold these no more than 10 to 15 minutes.